Yeah, what up, YouTube? This is your boy Liger, one half of Endu. I deeply apologize that I didn't start at 7:30 and I got a big docket tonight, but I was on an important call with company and stuff, so I apologize for being late. But I want to just go over a quick synopsis of maybe this might run over into Red, the one-on-one with Red, of course, once we get the sequential stuff over with. But with that said, I want to go over the Nintendo financials quickly so people could understand certain things, because there's one thing that people are missing in the talk with this the financials with excuse me, with Nintendo. And everybody and I'll try to go through this stuff as quickly as I can, and and anybody who have questions, put it towards the Red podcast, the one-on-one Red podcast. So don't put no questions here. You can just transfer it over to that, and I'll jump into that, and we'll answer it there. But anyway, Nintendo financials came out third quarter. Of course, let's do the simple stuff and the highlights, and then also the one thing I think a lot of people is missing out. Now, Nintendo financials came out. The sales are. Let me go. Let me do this quickly. Hopefully. Let me see. Share the entire screen. How about we do that? All right. So, and that phone call messed me up a little bit because I'm off my game a little because I was talking to somebody. We got his contracts and stuff, and it pushed me to a certain thing. Personal life. Anyway, okay. So the financials. This is basically you go to the link is in the description. You go to the investment page, and you can go to the financials and sales data. Everybody must click on the sales data and see what's going on. Like, they got the sales data here. And they go and look at the hardware sales and all that stuff, and they compare and contrast, blah blah blah. So, and the hardware and the software, they compare and contrast, blah blah blah. Once again, so they go to the highlights. And what I'm going to say one thing, like until they have, unless you have contracted certain things, like investor, a real investor, whatever. Because remember, I said, if people remember in the past, I've said you mostly get the highlight reel of things because they give you what they give you, so you know what's going on, so you can invest in them. And then Nintendo's no different. Sony, Microsoft, everybody get the same thing too. But you need to go into those deep pages where you can download certain stuff. Sometimes, and the yearly financials, they do that. And the half year mark, they do that. The quarters, sometimes they do, sometimes they're not. This time they did not do it. And that goes for any company, Sony, Microsoft again. So I'm not caveating Nintendo out of nothing. So there are pages that you have that unless you're part of that, they release to the public. So if you go to like the year fiscal, you're gonna see like a good 100-page report. Just like with Sony had a 100-page report, no, that 200-page. Microsoft had 300 page report. So in that sense, but everybody goes to the highlight reels and stuff. So now Nintendo, like I said, I'm just making it easy. Nintendo made profits, and everything's looking good. They're making profits. Now compared to last year, they are down from last year with the finance, coming down a certain percentage, because last year they were at, and as you can see right here, last year at this time they were at 442 because it's a million, so 442 million yen. Excuse me. This year at 425. So yes, it is less than last year. That's something that you see a lot of news people brought it out. Oh, Nintendo's losing this. Of course, they added on this whole because of the NX. That's why no. If that's the case that is the NX talk, because most of these people is pushing this NX talks beyond what it's supposed to be, which And you know what? It's games media. You know what? You know what? Let me be honest. If that's the truth, it's mostly because of game media and most YouTubers are saying everything. Because again, nobody know what this freaking thing is, but they have this magical thought of this concept of what this console is gonna be like. I don't. Again, as we talked on my podcast, everybody think this console is gonna rub your back, rub your feet, make your wife look good, all that stuff. I don't understand this high hopes in the NX because nobody knows what everybody's putting high hopes in a concept that they don't know what's going on, including everybody's concept is trying to follow what the other concepts are doing, which is I really do not want that. But that's a podcast all to itself. With that said, so the they're down from last year, not by a lot really, technically speaking, because they're down less than 35 million. That's not bad. That's really not that bad on that. But right now, as I said, they made profits. They released the reel where everybody's been using, which is the whole. No, let me go back to the PDF. Okay, it's in the PDF. They use the whole reel of saying what the 3DS has done, what Splatoon has done, which is great. And I mean, everybody sees. So I don't need to break it down how much sales it is, even though the net sales came out to be 425.6 billion yen, which is. That's a console doing that. That's one of the reasons I say the Wii U makes more profits than the other consoles combined, because what they're talking about is the software sales. Software sales is ridiculous with the Wii U, that nobody again could. That's why people don't understand how that works. I remember these guys, all these sales are basically digital and physical, and the physical being 80% and digital being 100% profits. A revenue stream for Nintendo. Then yeah, they make that's crazy money. Unlike with Sony and then what I said before, making only licensing fees for third-party games, which is I gotta do a video about that, explaining how the $60 breakdown. But licensing fees, of course, and like I said, Xbox, which is on the worst side because they have to pay. They get licensing fees, but the console don't make a profit. They got to still pay the Blu-ray Association for using that technology in their console, and a license, of course, and also pay when they manufacture each disc. Nintendo don't have that problem. And like I said, some of these numbers is funny because I remember some of the stories, which I'm going to go to the highlight reel right here to point out something. When people were saying, "Oh, well, Home Design." I remember when people were saying like, Home Design is not doing. Let's see, Animal Crossing Happy Home Design. Everybody was saying, "Oh, that's not the Animal Crossing I want," and it's sad and blah blah blah. I'm like, it was not made for you, and it still sold 2.9 million units globally. So if it was not for you, but they did it for another market, and the market came through. That's why the stuff about Amiibo Festival and Mario Tennis and everybody getting up and angry about it. It's so stupid. The same thing goes for, of course, Mario Party 10. It got bad reviews. It's mediocre, bad reviews, and people bitch. "Oh, this is not the Mario, whatever." But Mario Party, sold 1.6 million. For the people who bitch and don't want to buy it, they have to go buy it. But they put it out there for a reason. That's one of the arguments I have when people are like, "Oh, this game sucks." Okay, but it was not for you. It was for somebody else, and people are buying it. And this is why I was talking about the whole family thing. That's what people need to understand. Most of these games, Nintendo Land, Super Mario 3D Worlds, is people who buying it mostly for the family. That's why I said again with the whole family situation and the single people, gamers itself. Nintendo's core audience is and always will be family. You know what? Let me not say always will be. Let me not be that presumptuous and say that. But it is for the family. That's where they make the games. They when they make the game like Mario Kart, you got local co-op. You got all these things that have local co-op. The only one that has an exception that I would say that kind of core game will be Splatoon. And Splatoon still knocked it out of the park within almost a year. It's not even a year, and this thing sold 4.6 million worldwide. That's freaking amazing. Which of course Nintendo gets the money for that. So it's crazy. And then of course you have the new Super Mario Luigi U, which is to develop that was nothing, and it sold 4 million. That's basically that's basically straight profits for Nintendo, because it's just a palette swap and a lot of different things that they did. But the engine was there. It wasn't that it didn't took that long to make certain things for the game. So these are things that bolden me to think I am happy that I have a contract with them and doing stuff with them, because they're making obscene amount of money still. 200. They may be the base with everything put together. If you do the exchange rate, they basically made over 350 million. And I know everybody had the 295 million you've seen there, but but if you go into the exchange rate, which again we don't know exchange rate we're using right now, because that's one of the negative things against the yen versus the US dollar. That's a little deep again, because this is the Ncast Lite. I didn't want to, if I had more time to do it, because it was my fault. But let's go into, I want to point out something, that what happened last year as went on this year with the financials. Now, the thing that's happening this year, let me see if we can bring that up. Give me a second. Nope. Let's see if we can go back to the, oops, no. There we go. And then go to that, and then we go to the, nope, so that was the wrong one. My mistake. Go to this. The one thing that that people are forgetting. See, last year when Nintendo made those profits, right? When Nintendo made those profits last year, which was still good, but they had to take a certain hit because they had to cut back the operational forecast because things was not going right. They had to cut back 40. They had to cut back when we were trying to forecast. They had to cut back 40 million yen because of they were not going to reach the the projection that they were going to set. So they took an operational hit. This time, this year, they're not taking the operational hit. Their forecasting is good. So what happened is when your forecast is basically under par and everything's going all right, and it surpassed what it's supposed to hit, you're gonna get a big ass surplus. And that's when Nintendo, if everything's keep on going what it is, and they're not messing up the Steam, and you can see they had that in the other PDF when they talked about the sales are being everything is, the sales are being steady. Let me see. Wait, I know it was. I'm trying to find not the tax, and all this right here is the tax rate thing. I was talking about the tax rate and also the exchange rate thing. That's what's in this third part right here, the information part. Collateral. I'm trying to find where the global profit, operation income. See right here, like last year at the time, they made 31 million operation. That was operation cost, and they had to cut that because they had to cut that out of forecast because that was taking a big hit out of their profits. This year they're above that, and there's no negatives with that like they had in the past. So, oops, wrong page. like in the past. They're not making it's all surplusing now. Yep, surplusing now that they're not taking the hit. Let me see something else down here. Okay, let's get into the numbers again. They're not taking a hit. So what I'm trying to say is, when a company forecasts that they got the operational costs lock and loading, and it's working, and it goes beyond the money. Like I said, they're making the profits goes beyond the operational costs. What that does is it's profit, but it's also called a surplus. When that money just like way beyond that you forecasting. And you could just put it in the bank. You could put it anywhere. You don't have to redo anything. And then if things are going, last year they didn't have a surplus. This year they're going to have a massive surplus if things are going according to what they said. If sales will keep on being steady and everything, they're going to have a massive surplus, which is going to add to that $12 billion US they have in the bank. Or they're going to do it for the new projects that's coming out, maybe the theme park or the animes or TV talk or movie talk. They could use that in that setup, or some studio work, which me and Andre said on our podcast that they should have an in-house port team, and then do like they did with Monolith Soft with Project Crossover 2. The Monolith Soft developed the game. You guys they get the IP, they create a game for the 3DS or the Wii U, and then you will have a superior version of a port. It might not come out the same time as it, but I guarantee I will buy. Like I said, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. It came a year later than the original version, but I love that version better, and I was happy to buy it because they added so much extra features in there. I think that's what they should do. So that's the elephant in the room that I've seen. Wall Street Journal and BBC America don't talk about the surplus. That's the thing. That's something that when I make money and I see that everything I budget everything and everything's hitting on track, and I don't have to do a forecast drop in operation costs, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money I just made there from just. I'm like, okay, that money goes towards operation loss. I mean, to operation costs. I got that surplus. Then I'm getting the profits from my stuff that keep on coming as a stream revenue. That's extra money. So that's a big surplus they're gonna get this year if everything goes as planned. Last time they cut back 40 million yen because they cut back 20 and then they cut back 20 again when they got to the third the same time as last year. They cut back and they're like, yeah. Because operation cost is getting a little crazy. So they had to cut back the forecast. They don't have to cut back the forecast right now. Right now, they keep the forecast straight. And if they keep the forecast straight and they go beyond that, again, that's extra money that you make it as a business that you could keep. And Sony right now is not doing that. I could 100% guarantee you that. Microsoft, the vision of the Xbox, ain't never been doing that, which is the sad part. But that's the elephant in the room. People, you got to look for. That's operation costs. That's the surplus. That's the thing that I put in my Google Plus that I was saying that nobody's talking about. They're not making this. They didn't make the same amount of money from last year. Yes, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's the truth. But again, they're not also taking an operation cost hit. So they're gonna make it up in a surplus, which is gonna blow everybody else out of the water. Of course, they're the only three out of the three console operators that's making this much cash, and this is just straight up cash. And again, as I pointed out with the whole IR pages, not that I'm trying to go through. What was it again? Basically, yeah, it's on here with home design and all these things. The game doesn't come out for you, so home design got is a 3DS game, and the budget for that, of course, was maybe less than between 5 to 10. I don't know. I could find out when the yearly end comes out when I get the D pages and stuff like that. But I could find out. So they sold that. I mean, right now, that game outdid away the projection, and that's why I said Nintendo's budgeting is what helps them keep themselves relevant in the scale of making money. Not like Square Europe, not like Capcom, not like Sony, not like Microsoft, because you budget the stuff the right way, then you don't have to sell millions and millions of copies to make the money for us to break even and then start making profits. They basically make some of their stuff like Mario Kart at 7.5 mil. I mean, shoot, even Mario Kart 7 on the DS is still selling like crazy. So they, like I said, they don't make their budget back from those games, and it's making straight profits. And of course, the Wii sold. The Wii is where the Wii is still selling up in the thousands, in the tens of thousands, which is, you know, it shouldn't really, but it is. The same thing with the DS. They're still making profits off of that. So other than the 3DS and the Wii U, the old generation is still selling, and also games from that generation is selling like crazy too. So again, people, you don't worry about Nintendo, okay? Really, be happy that the games are coming out that you like, buy and enjoy it. And again, the elephant in the room is the surplus. That's what people's missing out. The surplus is what people is missing out in this whole thing. The operational costs so far is going great for Nintendo. They had to do a forecast cut. So I'll leave it at that. If it might sound a little rambly and bubbly, because I was, like I said, I was on a business meeting call with my company and doing stuff, and I'm sorry that I got on late, because it would have been more easy if I had it structured. But I have my operation stuff in my head right now that I don't want to crisscross with what I'm talking with the Nintendo stuff. But again, it's in the sorry about that. In the description is the IR pages where you're seeing some of this stuff. You're gonna get the highlights. Like I said, the D pages, them. If I ever get a chance to get some of them, I will maybe put some stuff up if it's in the PDF format where I don't gotta show my company's information and everything. Because the only way you get some of the deep pages or the extra stuff without, you know, without the year end and the year end forecast, the year financial forecast, is you have to be a part of the investors and all that stuff, and that also puts your information out there. And of course, this is YouTube. I'm not putting all that information out there for other people or me out there for anybody else. If you don't believe me, that's your call, whatever. I'm not, you know, but like I said, the link is in the description. Click it. You get to see at least the highlights and stuff like that. And most people put out the highlights, but the one thing they're missing is the operation costs. The operation cost once again is beyond what they expect. They're paying it, and they're doing well, and they don't have to do a cut, and they keep on doing. If everything keeps on going right for the whole year, they're gonna make a surplus on top of the profit revenue that they've been doing with the software sales. So kudos to you, Nintendo. Keep on doing what you're doing. Make that money, and you know what? As long as I keep on getting games, as long as the game is a financial success, that's the most I care about. So with that said, you could if you had any questions, because I'm not even looking at the Google Hangout really. If you have any questions, put it in the podcast with Mr. Red Fox, which is the one-on-one. I'll answer it there. I'm going to switch to that podcast right now. I'm going to give me about 10 minutes so me and Red could talk about certain things, and then I'll start it. It should be no more later than 8:30. It's my fault. I saw it for the late start, but you know, I had to hang a real life first, then take care of this, because this is just for fun. So with that said, again, if you have any questions, put it in the Red Fox's me and Red Fox's one-on-one, and we answer it there. And this was just an Ncast Light. Hope you understand where I was coming from. And as usual, you know what I always say, there's no perfect game out there. What's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply play them games.